Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Aqueduct Racetrack here on Monday. It is the 1st of January 2024. Going to look at all the races here on New Year's Day from the Big A, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Remember to go check out my Cheltenham New Year's Day preview. It's an excellent card there. It's going to be very testing conditions with the heavy ground, but it's some good racing, so I hope you check out my Cheltenham preview. But New Year's Day, as a tradition, since I'm a little kid, always going to Aqueduct with my old man and my grandfather when he was around, getting that calendar. Unfortunately, they don't do the calendar giveaway anymore, but, it's always good, going to Aqueduct on New Year's Day. And, this year is special for me. It's 20 years since I really, year to day to day looking at the races and stuff, and when I was a little kid, coming home from school, looking at the races and recording them, and it's kind of my 20-year anniversary this year, so I'm gonna enjoy it and look back at some of the races. Actually, not tomorrow, Wednesday is actually 20 years since Smarty Jones won the Count Fleet. I was there that day at Aqueduct, and wow, he put on a show. Who would have thought what he did after that? He was just one of those incredible horses. So it's a good time, looking back. But we have 8 races to look at here on this New Year's Day card. Usually there's a stakes race. This year, no stakes race on New Year's Day. It used to be the Interborough on New Year's Day, but and then they changed it to the Jerome. Last year, I think it was the ladies. This year, no stakes race, but still a good card. 8 races to look at. Remember, 12.50 post. Let's get to the opener, which is a starter optional claimer purse, $55,000. Race for fillies, 3-year-olds never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, which never won 2 races. Optional claim price $50,000. Field of 6 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. I'm going to go to the 6-horse Progeny as a top selection. 6-2-4-5 for me in the superfecta. 6-2-4-5 super, top selection 6-horse Progeny. 3-year-old fiddled by Golden Sense here. George Weaver trains. Jose Gomez gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 26 November at Aqueduct, 6.5 and a starter optional 50, and he finished second by a neck that day, and he was off and on the lead throughout. He was drifting late, which cost him. He got caught at the wire by the winner, who's actually running back in this one today. What can you do? He just couldn't get into it. Now starting as a 3-year-old, getting first-time Lasix, hopefully could, settle the horse well and keep up late. I think with the cutback and trip, he could get the trip to win. 2 back in a maiden 40 at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs, 12th in November. He won by 2 1/4 lengths that day, and he had a wide, trip that day, but at the top lane when Manny said go, he kept going, coming home with a 57 buyer. Not a bad race there. And then on the slop in late October at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs in a main special weight, he finished 5th by 8 1/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked and kind of yielded late. His races, against those maiden special weight kind of horses earlier or late last year, he just wasn't keeping up. Those are slightly better horses. Since going down the class ladder, he's really improved a lot. He's training well at Belmont. I'm gonna give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 2-horse here, Antenna, for Linda Rice and Jose Escano, can win also. Was a winner, actually, 2-back beating Progeny in that starter optional on the 26th of November, where he won by a neck, and he had a dream tracking trip, and he caught him at the wire. A very good run. Came back to run an optional 80 on the slop here in early December off the quick turnaround, and he finished 4th by 13.5 lengths that day, and he didn't get out of the gates so clearly, and he was wide, and he just wasn't keeping up. The track was a conveyor belt of speed that weekend, so he just wasn't getting into it. But he likes running here. Since going down in class, another horse that's really improved a lot. He broke his maiden 50,000 here on the slop, going 7/8 in October by length on the front end all throughout. Coming training well. I'll give him a shot in the early pick 5. But to recount my selection for the opener from Aqueduct, going to take the 6-horse Progeny, give kudos to the 2-horse Antenna, 6-2-4-5 super, 6-2 in the multi-race. Let's get to the second race. And, if you want me to do some more full card selections for the year, comment below if I should do it. Can't promise it's going to happen every week, but, maybe on the occasion I could do it. The second race from Aqueduct, it's an allowance race purse, $82,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards, never won 18,000 other than main claim starter or state bred allowance race, which never won 2 races. We have a field of 6 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. Going to take the 2-horse Full Moon Madness, 2-3-5-4 in the superfecta. 2354 Super, top selection 2-horse Full Moon Madness, 4 Copa into the Mischief, Michelle Nevin trains, Trevor McCarthy gets to mount, 3-1. The horse's most recent outing came 24th of November at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs in the Lounge Race, 90,000, and he finished second by a neck that day. And he stalked, he had the lead, he was a little bit bumping in the lane, and then, he had the lead, got caught at the wire, but because he came in at the top of the lane, they disqualified him and actually placed him fifth. I do think that was the right call. He did interfere with horses really badly. But, coming here today, not the world's toughest race, could be forwardly paced here today. I'm going to give him a shot to win. 2 back on the slop off the, 10-month refreshing, 7th of October, 7 furlongs in Lounge Race, 100,000. He finished 8th by 11 1/4 lengths that day. You're seeing slightly better horses on the day. He was just wide, and he just kind of hit the wall. He desperately needed the race that day. And then late December of last year at Laurel, 7 furlongs in the Heft Stakes. He finished 4th by 9 lengths, and he was on the front end dueling that day and then completely crumbled. It wasn't his day to win. He ran here in last year's Nashua over the mile where he finished 2nd by 3/4 length, and again, he got caught at the wire. I do think 7 furlongs, even a mile, it's just too, long for him. I think 6 furlongs is what he wants to do. He's cutting back here today to 6 furlongs. We shouldn't see rain, but if it rains, I think he can handle it also. I'll give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 3-horse here, that's me, for Jorge Abreu and Romero Mirage could get a trip to win. Most recently, the horse ran on the 24th of November, 6 furlongs in that allowance race, where he finished 3rd by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and he got out of the gate horribly that day. Didn't get, had to gain a lot of ground, and he was wide. He was moving late, but, he needed something more that day. Prior to that allowance race at Belmont over the 6, he finished 2nd by 5 lengths that day, and he had a wide trip, and he just, again, couldn't get into it there. Off the bench, he probably needed the race there, and then a state bred option 45 at Aqueduct last January. He won by a half a length that day, and he had a good turn of foot to close into the pace that day, won by a half a length. That was a very strong run. He has ability, but he's been, not on the racetrack a lot in the last year, but coming here today, second off the bench, he has hidden race that could win here. I'll use him in the pick 4. But to recount my selection for the second from Aqueduct, going to take the 2-horse Full Moon Madness, give kudos to the 3-horse Hoo, that's me, 2354 Super, 2-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the third race from the Big A, which is a maiden claiming event going for a $32,000 purse. Race for maidens 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 8 horses taking a stroll around the main track, which is 1,800 meters in circumference, or the mile and the 8th trip on the Aqueduct main track. Going to take the 8-horse Dudley Dickerson as a top selection, 8367 in the superfecta, 8367 Super, top selection 8-horse Dudley Dickerson. This 4-year-old colt by Union Rags. Michael Moore trains. Trevor McCarthy gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 10th of December here at Aqueduct on a very sloppy going. 1 mile and maiden 30,000. Facing state breds for the second time. He finished 3rd by 3.5 lengths that day, and he just didn't get out of the gate so clearly. He got bumped a few times. He was wide, and he moved late, but he needs something more. I think he goes up a lot with a wide postura. It looks like he has some pace if he wants to use it. If he could get some good position out of the gate from the wide postura, I think he could do a good race and win. He hasn't run around 2 turns in a little bit, but those races aren't bad at all. He is a 15-time maiden though, so he's due for a victory. 2 back at Aqueduct on the 17th of November, 1 mile in a maiden 30,000 state bred, and he finished 3rd by 8 lengths that day. And again, he sat back early after not the best beginnings. He moved a little bit late, but the 2 in front of him were just slightly better on the day. And then a Parks at mile 70 in a maiden 30. He finished 2nd by 2 3/4 lengths. He stalked, he had the lead, and then he just kind of crumbled late. The winner, Smooth Mott, just caught him that day and was a next star winner. And then slap at mile 70 at Parks, and he finished 4th by 11 1/4 lengths that day, and he just never really got going. But coming here, I think crying out for a mile late, what he's getting, he could win here. I think the 3-horse here, Steady Progress for Naipaul Shatterball and Lane Luzzy could get a trip to win. Most recent round on the Tapeta at Woodbine, a mile 16th in a main optional 40, where he finished 6th by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and he just never really could get going that day. He was on the inside all throughout, and he just didn't have the trip. He ran okay, but he needed a better trip to win. 2 back over the Wilson Mile at the Spa and a main 40. He finished 4th by 14 lengths that day, and he got bumped that day. He was wide, and he wasn't getting into it. And then he ran at a main 20 at Belmont, where he finished 3rd by 9.5 lengths, and he was wide, and I thought he wanted something more. he's another horse. I think he has some early pace. He gets a good poster here today. I think he's been crying out for this trip. Let's give him a shot here today. He should definitely see a better trip than he saw last time out at Woodbine. And even the 6 horse here, No Surrender for Rudy Rod, and Kokya. I believe he's the Turkish rider coming in. He was riding here a few times earlier in the last winter. But this horse, he ran early December in a maiden 20 at Aqueduct, where he finished second by 1.5 lengths. Stepping way down the class ladder, he got around the race course well, even after a little bit, subpar beginning. But he showed potential that day. Coming here with a longer trip, I'll give him a shot on this ticket in this very wide open third race. But to recap my selection for the third from Aqueduct, going to take the 8 horse Dudley Dickerson, give kudos to the 3 horse Steady Progress and the 6 horse No Surrender. 8-3-6-7 Super, 8-3-6 in the multi-race. Let's head over to race number 4 now from the Big A. The fourth from the Big A, it's a starter allowance race, purse $55,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards, never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, or it's never won. A race on the main claim starter or blah, 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 blah. We have a field of 7 horses, including a part of an entry going to the post. The distance of ground to 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. Gonna take the 2 horse Barnstorming as a top selection. Let's go 2-3-4-5 in the superfecta. 2-3-4-5 super, top selection 2 horse Barnstorming. 4-year-old colt by Quality Road, Linda Rice trains, Jose Lascano gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in main claiming $50,000 at Churchill. 7 furlongs on the 1st of November, and he won by 3/4 in length that day. And he had a dream trip. He stalked all the way around the race course, dueling. A little bit wide, but when he had the turn of foot, he held on to it. I thought that was a very strong run. Coming here to New York, Linda Rice has very good numbers with these horses climbing from Kentucky, coming to New York. Not the world's toughest race here today, cutting back in trip. I think this horse has a lot to, has the, the ability to go a long way in this race. 2 back, 6th of October, Keelan, mile 16th in Maine, 100,000. He finished 7 by 11.25 lengths that day, and he stalked all the way around the race course. He had, he had the clip at the start. He was wide, and he just never was comfortable that day. I do think the trip was just too long. And then at Del Mar, late November of last year, 6.5 in a main special weight. He finished 7 by 17 lengths that day. He was ranked. Juan Hernandez didn't let this horse go, and it cost him. He just couldn't get the turn of foot late. But way down the class ladder, coming to New York, like I said, Linda Rice has very good numbers with these kind of horses. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket, or him a shot on the ticket, and he's going to be my single in the pick 4. And if you're going to play the pick 6 that begins with the previous race, this is the single there for you. But to recount my selection for the 4th from Aqueduct, going to take the 2 horse Barnstorming, 2-3-4-5 super. Let's single the 2 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 5th event from Aqueduct, which is a starter allowance race, purse $55,000, races for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards, never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, or it's never won, a race in the main claim starter, blah, 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 blah. We have a field of, 6 horses going 1,800 meters, or the trip around the main track, which is 1.1 miles in circumference. Gonna take here the 3 horse Ghostly Girl, 3-4-2-1 for me in the superfecta. 3-4-2-1 super, top selection 3 horse Ghostly Girl, 4-year-old filly by Shaman Ghost. John Toscano Jr. trains, Luis Rivera Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 3rd December locally here on the slop, 6 furlongs and claiming 40,000 non-2L, and the horse finished 4th by 6.25 lengths that day, and he was wide, and he had nothing, absolutely nothing that day. I think, he just wasn't keeping up with the fast horses. I think he wants to go a slow 1.8 miles where he get into the front end a little bit easier. He's going to be in a right race today than he was last time out. 2 back on the 26th of October at Belmont at Aqueduct, 7 furlongs in a starter allowance race. Finished 6 by 6.25 lengths that day, and again, flying on the front end, he was wide, and he just wasn't keeping up. Like I said, I think he just wants a slower pace and a routed trip of grounds. And then the slop 1 mile in a star allowance race in early October, he finished 5th by 17 lengths, and he just kind of hit the wall that day. It's been a while since he ran a routed ground. Most recently, around a 1.5 turn, came 11th of August at Saratoga over the Wilson Mile and a claiming 35, where he finished 3rd by 7.25 lengths, and he's off and on the lead throughout. He kind of hit the wall late. He ran his heart out that day, but if you look at some of his races earlier last year in Kentucky and in Oaklawn, they weren't bad races at all. He had a decent place at Keeneland at the end of April and a decent place at Oaklawn, where he just kind of hit the wall very late in the stages of the race. It looked like he was going to win, but again, he ran his heart out that day. Coming to a longer trip, I think he could win. I think the 4 horse I Feel the Need for Linda Rice and Eric Cancel can win also. Ran here in a solo lounge race of the mile in December where he just ran crap. She finished 6 by 6 lengths that day, and he didn't get out of the gate so clearly, was wide, and just didn't show up. Prior to that, on claiming 40 at Keeneland, she won quite nicely by 3.5, closing up from nowhere, circling the field. I thought that was a very good effort that day. And then the race before it at Ellis in July, he just wasn't handling the green stuff that day. First time on it, probably be the last time, just wasn't getting a handle of it there. And then mid-June at Ellis over the mile in a star lounge race, finished third by 1.75 lengths. Kind of got overtaken late, but she ran her heart out there. Coming to a longer trip, training well at Belmont. I'm getting with this horse shot in the pick 4 that begins with this race, with it being an 8 race card. But to recap my selection for the 5th run, the Big A, gonna take the 3 horse Ghostly Girl. Give kudos to the 4 horse I Feel the Need. 3-4-2-1 Super. 3-4 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 6th event from Aqueduct, which is a claiming event going for $44,000 purse, race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. Going for a claim price $20,000. Field of, let's see, 8 horses, including a part of an entry, going 1,600 meters or a mile on the main track. Gonna take the 5 horse Critical Threat as a top selection. 5-7-1-4 for me in the superfecta. 5-7-1-4 super, top selection of 5 horse Critical Threat. I can't say that word today. The 6-year-old gelding by Mashawish here, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the last winner of the Don handicap that's ever been run. But 6-year-old gelding by Mashawish, American Kantamachi trains, gets Kayaka Kaikea up in the saddle. I have to get his correct enunciation of his name. But this horse, he ran 9th of December locally here at Aqueduct, 7 furlongs and claim 12.50, where he finished 2nd by 2 lengths that day, and he sat back early. I thought he won a little bit more ground, but he ran decently that day. I think coming back to a mile, he's stepping up in slight class here today, but it's not the world's deepest, claiming 20. He's going to be in a good spot to get a trip to win. 2 back at Laurel, 1 mile in a lounge race, 56,000. He finished 8th by 13 lengths that day, and he was wide, and he just wasn't getting into it. He saw some very tough competition there. And then early September at Monmouth off the bench, 6 furlongs and option 16. Finished 7th by 11.25 lengths that day. And again, slightly better horses off the bench. He wasn't speedy enough to keep up with them. They were flying that day, 45 flat to that half. So, he just wasn't, he needed that race there. And then the Laurel last November of 2022 in a lounge race for 61. Finished 9th by 19.5 lengths that day. And again, blinkers on. He just never really got going. Since taking, the 3 starts with the blinkers weren't up to par. Since taking the blinkers off last time out, and if you look at the races without blinkers before that, he ran decently. He nearly won at Saratoga in the summer of 2022 in a claiming 14, where he finished 2nd by a nose. He just missed late, but he ran his heart out there. And prior to that, he ran over the Wilson Mile in a claiming 25, where he finished 3rd by 5 lengths. Again, running decently, kind of yielded late, but not a bad race. All the way down in class, no blinkers on. I'll give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 7 horse Mason Mania for Rabbit Trask and Kendrick Carmouche get a trip to win. Most recently in a state bred optional 45 of the 7 here locally. He finished 8th by 17 lengths that day and didn't break so clearly and, just wasn't getting into it. Over the mile in the optional 45 in November, he finished 6th by 13.5 lengths. Again, completely tiring. Before that, over the summer, he was actually based, or in the, not in the summer, in the late fall or mid-fall, he was based at Prescott, and he was running decently on the Tapeta there. He ran here at Aqueduct last winter where he was running he was running okay. He didn't win locally, but he came back to win opening week at Belmont in the lounge race for state breds and winning by a half length all throughout. He had a great turn of foot to win with an 81 buyer, which could definitely win here today. He's going way down the class ladder, should be forwardly paced, and 9-2. Let's give Kendrick his first win of the season here. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Aqueduct, gonna take the 5 horse Critical Threat. Give kudos to the 7 horse Mason Mania. Let's go 5-7-1-4 super, 5-7 in the multi-race. Let's head over to the 7th event now from Aqueduct, which is a lounge optional claimer per $74,000 race for 4-year-olds and upwards. State breds here. Optional claim price $45,000 or $45,000. There we go. We have a field of 8 horses. It's going to be 9 horses, including part of an entry, going the distance of ground to 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. Going to take the 3 horse Warrior's Revenge as a top selection. 3-6-2-1 for me in the superfecta. 3621 Super, top selection 3 horse Warriors Revenge. This 7-year-old gelding by Warriors Reward. Mark Henning trains. Kendrick Harmouche gets the mount. Horse hasn't been seen since mid March. That came at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs and optional 45 for state breds. And he finished third by 8 lengths that day. And he just sat back early and he never got going. The two in front of him were just slightly better horses. Coming off the bench, where, Mark Henning doesn't have a lot of horses come off long benches like this. He's 6-0. But coming off the bench, a little lesser quality horses, I'm going to give him a shot here to win. I think there's going to be a good pace for him to close up into. 2 back in option 45 at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs in early February. He finished third by 9 1/4 lengths that day, and he was just sitting off of a fast pace that day. He kind of crumbled late. It wasn't his day to win. And then early January last year, 6 furlongs in state bred allowance race, 72,000 non-1X. He won by 4.5 lengths that day, and Kendrick rode him perfectly that day. He lost the iron at the gate, but he didn't lose his composure. He got the iron back, slowly moved his way into the race, and when he got to the front end, he took off clear. That was a very good run. Great ride by Kendrick that day. And then on the slop here in late December of 2022, 6 furlongs in allowance race, he finished third by 9 1/4 lengths. Not the best beginnings. He was a little bit wide, but he showed potential. Before that, he was running at the Finger Lakes in 2022, and he won a bunch in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in these sprinting allowance races. So he ran decent buyers against those horses. Coming here off the bench, I'll give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 6 horse, My Man Matty for Isaac Castillo and Bruce Levine, could get a trip to win. Was a winner here in the 1st December off the long refreshing in a lounge race. Won by 4 3/4 on the front end all throughout. He had a hand ride to the wire, an easy run with a 93 career best buyer. That was his first race since February, where he ran 6 furlongs in a state bred allowance race for 72, where he finished 6 by 11 1/4 lengths that day, and he hit the gate going out of it, and then that was it for him. He just completely crumbled. I wonder if he got hurt out of that run. Is that the reason why you didn't see him for 7-8 months? And then early February over the 6.5 in allowance race, finished third by 3 1/4 lengths that day, and he was with the pace setters, but then crumbled. He has a lot of speed here. He's training well. I'll give him a shot here, a 5-2 on the ticket. And even the 2 horse here, What's Up Bro for Dylan Davis and Orlando Noda, is a winner of his last 3 at 3 different tracks. Started the win streak in a claiming 25 at Thistle, winning by 3 lengths. Came back to run at Keelan over the 6 in a claiming 20, where he won by 2.5 lengths. And then came back to win in a claiming 25 here on the slop locally. On the 10th of December by 1.5 lengths. A very easy run. Bars have been getting better. He can make it 4 in a row. He likes his track here, 6-3 on it. Let's give him a shot in this late pick 4 or in the late double. But to recount my selection for the 7 from Aqueduct, gonna take the 3 horse Warriors Revenge. We'll give kudos to the 6 horse My Man Matty and the 2 horse What's Up Bro. 3-6-2-1 Super, 3-6-2 in the multi race. Let's get to the 8th event now. From Aqueduct, the New Year's Day finale, the nightcap. It is a claiming event going for a $45,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Never started, which never won 3 races here. Optional claim, claim price $35,000. We fielded 9 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or a mile on the main track. Gonna take the 6 horse Reddington as a top selection. 6-8-4-5 for me in the superfecta. 6-8-4-5 Super, top selection 6 horse Reddington. This 5-year-old gelding by and captured here. Robitrash trains. Kendrick Harmouche gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came claiming 29-2L at Churchill. 1 mile 23rd November. Off the bench, he won by 4.5 lengths that day, and basically he broke on top. After that, he was on cruise control throughout, singing some good fractions. Came home with the 78 buyer. Not a bad race at all. Coming here to New York to a claiming 35, not the world's deepest competition. He could really get a trip to win, I think. 2 back in a state bred optional 20 at Gulfstream, 7 furlongs, 24th of June. He finished third by 4 lengths that day. And, he's just on the rail that day. He never quickened up, but he never weakened out of it either. He just kind of plodded along. I thought it was an okay effort. And then at Gulfstream in late April, 7 furlongs and optional 20. He finished 4th by 9 1/4 lengths that day. And he was just wide and just completely crumbled. It's been, a few times between victories, but he when he runs in the 1-turn miles, that's where he gets his good trips. He actually broke his main in May of 2022 at Gulfstream in a main special weight over the 1-turn mile, winning by 10.5 lengths that day. He broke on top and really took off clear. I like that he gets Kendrick up today, who's a very good speed rider and also getting horses out of the gate. I think this gets his horse up a lot more. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 8 horse Winning Connections for Dick Dutrow and Trevor McCarthy can get a trip to win. Most recently, in a claiming 35 at Aqueduct over the mile in late November, he finished second by 3/4 length that day, and he stalked that day, not getting out of the gate so clearly, but he kept coming that day. But the winner was just a little bit gamer than him, but he ran his heart out that day. Prior to on the slop at Aqueduct, 1 mile and claiming 35, he finished third by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and again he needed something more, but again not a bad race. And then a Star Lounge race, Saratoga of 7 furlongs in late August, he finished fifth by 13 3/4 lengths that day, or excuse me, 3 3/4 lengths that day. He showed nothing from the rail. It just wasn't his day to win. He actually won over Saratoga over the summer over the Wilson Mile in the claiming 25, winning by 3/4 length that day. He had a wide trip that day, but he just held on to the victory. Coming here to Aqueduct, he's only 10-1 on the surface, but he always runs these sneaky good races. I'll give him a shot here at 3-1. And also watch out for the 4-horse Disappearance for Jackie Davis and Oscar Barrera III. Was a winner last time out over the mile here in a claiming 25. It was a void claim out of that run, but he just held on to the victory, kind of drifting that day. Prior to then claiming 25 over the 7 in November here at Aqueduct, he finished second by a nose, and again, just missed closing up from nowhere. And then he ran and started a lounge race here in October where he just completely crumbled. It wasn't his day to win. He's sometimes inconsistent and then runs these good races. Oscar Barrera has good numbers here over the winter at Aqueduct. Has run decent numbers as of recently this one. I'll give her a shot in the late pick 4, or him a shot in the late pick 4. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Aqueduct here on this New Year's Day card, going to take the 6-horse Reddington. We'll give kudos to the 8-horse Winning Connection and the 4-horse Disappearance. 6-8-4-5 Super, 6-8-4 in the multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.